Hey guys, how's it going? I hope we're all doing okay during this isolation period. I've got a Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway review to hopefully help you pass the time. Now this is a game that I've never actually previously played. I have played other games in the Brothers in Arms franchise, but never Hell's Highway. And I remember the Brothers in Arms games have always got a unique combat style, so I was looking forward to check out this game. It came out in 2008, I managed to pick it up on sale on Steam for around £3, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. I really enjoyed it, I hope you enjoy the review. You guys come there. I'll cover this MG. Right, now you should have a shot on him. There we go. So kicking things off, we've got the intro, which gives a bit of background, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty nice. It was a bit all over the place, and I don't know if that's because I can't remember the previous games. I only played one of them, so it might be something leading up to Hell's Highway that I don't quite know. But I'm going to be reviewing this game as if you're buying it standalone without having played the other games. So I've got to say the intro, it was kind of interesting, kind of nice. I like when they give intros like that, but it was a bit all over the place. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. That being said, they do introduce the fact that you're going to be running through part of the US's military involvement in Operation Market Garden, which I was happy about because unfortunately I don't know too much about Operation Market Garden apart from the bigger events like Battle of Arnhem. So I was glad to see that we're going to see a small part, even though it's just going to be a small part, of the US's involvement in the operation, which I don't know too much about. So that was nice to hear. Jumping straight into the gameplay, it does take a bit of getting used to. Like I said, Brothers in Arms has got a unique combat style, and that means things like right click rather than to being aimed down the sight is to move your squad and give your squad orders. And I like that. It sets the precedent straight away that this isn't a run and gun, this isn't a one-man mission. The main objective is to move your squad around and try and, as a team, take over objectives. Jasper! Target that area! Looking at the graphics of the game, I personally thought they held up pretty well, except for maybe the gun model. But the environment around you, the character models, they look good to me. It's got a bit of a unique style to it, this game, but all in all, I thought the graphics held up pretty damn well. One slight problem I did have with the game was when I was aiming down the sight, I did find it quite jittery. And I don't know if that's just my rig, I suspect not, I imagine that you will have that problem as well. The good news is you're actually very rarely aiming down your sight in this game. It's much more about moving your squad around, and if you're doing any firing, it's usually just suppressing firing, so it's not a big issue.
Move to that position!
There is thankfully a very good tutorial which they run you through, which is needed considering this game's combat style isn't really like any other games. So thankfully they do a really good job introducing the different things that you need to do, and they do that throughout the game. I mean, it's not just at the start of the tutorial, they slowly introduce more squad members to you, so they've done that really well. There are little extras which the game includes if you want to complete the game 100%. And these include recon points and graffiti. Now if I'm being totally honest, I didn't give a shit about the graffiti, but the recon points were very interesting. They gave you historical context about Operation Market Garden as a whole, or historical information about whatever the recon point is near. So if it's near a hospital, for example, it might give you the history of that hospital during World War II. I thought they were really interesting, a really nice addition to the game. Now, although this game heavily emphasises the squad play and moving your team around and suppressing and flanking enemies, I think they realised that if you're doing that continuously for 7, 8, 9 hours, it would get a bit repetitive and a bit boring. So they do introduce elements of gunplay where the onus is more on you to take enemies out and clear buildings. And this does usually happen in buildings where you leave your squad behind and you clear it out by yourself. And although that's not the focus of this game, so it is a bit clunky, those elements, and not quite right, I do appreciate it. It does the job, it does mix things up and keeps the main element of the game fresh when you go back to it. Now personally for me, it did take me a bit of time to get used to the controls. I was constantly misclicking at the start of this game. Now you might find it easier, but for me, it does involve the early portion of this game with some frustrating misclicks where you're sending your squad directly into the firing line. That being said, by the middle and end of the game I was completely fluid with the movement, so stick with it. If you're finding it a bit frustrating at first, stick with it, you will get used to it, and when you do get used to it, it is really satisfying. I should at this point say that there were some absolutely brutal scenes in this game. It is depicting World War II and they definitely didn't hold any punches. There's some very gruesome kill animations which I personally think added to the game, but if you really don't like that kind of stuff, I would definitely say yeah, you should avoid this game. The story, like the introduction, is quite hard to follow. You've got the main Operation Market Garden story, which is pretty easy to follow, intertwined with a more personal story that's mostly told through flashbacks. I wasn't a huge fan of the personal story. I thought the conclusion to it was a bit disappointing, but they do a really good job with their storytelling in getting you to know the characters a bit well, which does lead to some, I'm going to be honest, pretty sad moments. I won't give away any spoilers, but they are impactful. The game definitely doesn't hold any punches, so they do well to get you to know the characters so that they can have these more impactful moments throughout the game. They also get bonus points for including Dale Dye, who played Colonel Sink in Band of Brothers. He's always entertaining to see, so it's good to see they included him with their cutscenes. Now they were trying to tell a big story through pretty small cutscenes, so I can also kind of forgive them with being all over the place there. It's a very hard task that they were trying to achieve. Back onto the most important part, which is the gameplay. Once you get used to the controls, it is really satisfying when a plan comes together. So that's really the core of this game, is moving your squad around, being tactical, using your map to figure out where's the best place to go, and then when that all comes together, it is really satisfying. I'm going to swoop around this way, have this MG team firing, suppressing these guys, and then I think I'll be able to just get a flank on them. Let's give that a try. As you progress, you're provided with different units which have different characteristics, and you're required to vary your tactics throughout the game, which ultimately leads to a final mission where you've got to use everything you've learned in order to complete the objective. They also mix things up by consistently putting you into unique situations, such as having a classic sniper mission, and although it's not done that well on this game, it is appreciated the change of pace, so well done there. And they've got a few tank missions which I think they did do really well. I enjoyed the physics of the tank, and it's nice to change from a game where you're constantly trying to get the enemy in cover and flank round and use tactics, to have a situation where you've got a huge amount of power and you're able just to roll through the enemy. So it's good that they intertwine the two so you get the contrast and you appreciate the two different styles of play. They put you in other situations which help change the mood and flow of the game. So all in all, I think they did the gameplay really well. So, final thoughts. Well, in both the gameplay and the story, they try and cover a lot of elements, and inevitably they can't get them all right, but they do well enough in most of them, and the core part of the game, which is the squad, the tactical aspect of it, they do really well. So although they don't hit on everything they try and do, I think they do really well in the core part, which is the most important part. And the story is kind of interesting, better than it being boring, even though it is a bit all over the place. And they build the characters up, so that's a plus on the story side. And the gameplay side, yeah, the squad element really good. So it is a unique game, and it's a unique style of game. If you haven't played it before, I definitely recommend picking it up. And if you can pick it up for around £3, I mean, really, you've got to go for it. I definitely recommend it. So that's it for this one, guys. Make sure you stay safe. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped pass the time. If you like the video, please give it a like. And if you like this channel, think about subscribing. Cheers, guys. See you in the next one.